The paradigm has shifted. The world is accelerating. The science fiction of yesterday is rapidly becoming the science fiction of right now. How do we withstand the tectonic shifts in the world around us? How does a society thrive when the world economy is undergoing constant disruption? How do we continue to learn when information is moving at the speed of light? There are places that are ahead of the curve, cities building the tools for tomorrow.
We want to create innovations that have a real-world impact.
One day, Singapore can be self-sustained in food production.
You're looking at the development of Singapore 40 years ahead of time.
This city could be a model for what's to come. This is the city of the future, Singapore. The future of the world lies in its urban environments. More than half the world's population live in cities, and that number is growing. This rapid influx of people creates possibility, but it also creates challenges. How can the cities of today grow and thrive to become the places we want to live in tomorrow? Creating sustainable, manageable human spaces in the world's ever-expanding cities is a challenge facing governments across the globe. And no one understands the complexity of this challenge better than the planners at Singapore's Housing and Development Board, the agency in charge of creating living spaces for about 80% of the resident households in one of the most densely populated cities.
I'm an architect by training, and I also have a master's degree in planning. So I'm an architect planner.
Since 2010, Dr. Cheong's vision and guidance has helped usher in a new era of smart public housing for the HDB, allowing the city she loves to grow and thrive despite significant challenges.
As an island city-state, we're only about half the size of metropolitan London. We have to house 5.7 million people. And we are, of course, very land and resource constrained. So that is the big challenge. But having said that, over the years, we have managed to develop Singapore in a pretty sustainable way, and we are one of the most livable cities in Asia.
When Dr. Cheong was a little girl, Singapore was a vastly different city. It had a third of today's population, less than 1% of the current GDP, and little to no infrastructure. In just over 5 decades, though, this tiny city-state has undergone a remarkable transformation. Singapore's HDB has built 1 million flats, creating one of the most successful public housing programs in the world. HDB is now looking to high-tech, innovative solutions to not only provide enough living spaces for Singapore's citizens, but also improved quality of life for decades to come.
We have very sophisticated computer models that help the architect planner to improve the environmental quality in the town. So for example, Singapore is in the tropics, so we want to encourage the breezes to come through. Through computer simulation, you can actually position the blocks and the public spaces and the parks in such a way that help you to achieve this. Singapore does very long-term comprehensive planning, and that is very important. You are looking at the development of Singapore 40 years ahead of time. And this is important because it ensures that we have sufficient land safeguarded to meet all our development needs.
Singapore is planning decades ahead. In such a land-scarce nation, the question is often not what to build, but where to build. Singapore's Urban Redevelopment Authority is in charge of identifying the future needs of all Singapore's land. It's the kind of challenge that draws in the adventurous and the curious.
I'm very much an urban person. The city is close to my heart, and even more so having worked in detail on the plans over the last 20 over years.
For Andrew and the URA, sometimes that work means creating land from nothing, a process known as land reclamation. Since independence in 1965, Singapore has used reclamation to increase its land mass by about 23%. One of the most striking examples of this, and perhaps a vision that cities across the world may adopt, is Singapore's Marina Bay, a vast engineering project that has been decades in the making.
When I first started work with URA, Marina Bay was just a vacant tract of land. It was only maybe 10, 15 years ago that we actively started development of the area.
Andrew was part of the team that drew up the plan for Marina Bay and translated it into reality. Its development dramatically increased the footprint of Singapore, but it was designed with the needs of its citizens in mind.
The traditional central business district just comprises of office space, then is only used 9 to 5 days a week. So as we've planned Marina Bay, we've also looked to bring in complementary uses. So the idea is you create a mixed-use precinct that the activities carry on 24/7 and 7 days a week.
To make the round-the-clock Marina Bay model work, the URA needed infrastructure. In land-scarce Singapore, that meant going underground, using precision-designed layers of essential services, including water and electrical tunnels, pedestrian and commercial spaces, transportation infrastructure like highways and subways, and even telecommunication superhighways. These hidden underground systems have been designed to meet the needs of Singapore for the next 50 years. But some in Singapore are looking beyond that, already imagining the cities of the far future.
I actually think that the future of Singapore is not just about increasing the density around transportation nodes of activity. I actually think it's about exploring air rights as well.
Jason Pomeroy has grand visions for his city. The award-winning architect of Singapore's first zero-carbon house, the Bee House, his designs are pushing the boundaries of how Singapore might look more than 50 years from now.
Think about creating structures over roads, over motorways, topping up above existing structures. The rooftops today might be sky courts, sky gardens of recreation.
If cities expand upwards into the skies, conventional methods of road transportation may no longer be effective. Perhaps the future of urban transportation will play a major part in shaping the way we live.
But then all of a sudden you're going to need to think about how to get people up there. You know, if you were to fast forward 50 years from now, we already see drone technology becoming so advanced, why are we not sticking people into those drones? Again, a bit like Blade Runner. All of a sudden, your sky courts, your sky gardens, even your private terraces to your condo is actually a landing platform for your own personalized drone.
Though the idea of us flying to work may be decades away, drone technology is advancing rapidly and could become integral to the evolution of transportation in the cities of tomorrow. In Singapore, the government has thrown its support behind an advanced program to test the limits of drone capabilities in the world's rapidly expanding urban environments.
Yeah, we will release the drone.
Skyways is Airbus's project that is exploring this urban air delivery domain, or basically cargo delivery with drones project. The drone that we're using is actually fully customized or fully designed by our team here in Singapore.
To ensure maximum safety in the air, the drones have multiple aerospace-grade navigation systems, so that if one system malfunctions, it can rely on others to fly to its destination.
The packages that we can deliver by design today is up to 4 kilograms. What we understand is that 4 kilograms would cover perhaps about 80-85% of all the packages that or parcel deliveries that are done today.
Once the package has been delivered to its slot, the mailbox automatically sends a personalized code to the customer, so they can pick up the package 24/7.
And just like that, parcel comes back. In Airbus, one of our visions is what we call urban air mobility. So flying taxis, for example. Skyways is about enabling this technology. It's about looking and moving towards a future where we have then a flying transportation means in an urban setting.
Singapore innovators are imagining and experimenting the what's next for urban travel. Drone technology may be the next revolution liberating commuters from their two-dimensional travel. But the challenges facing all of our cities may be more elemental than where we will build and how to get around. Providing food and water for the millions of people that will pack into our urban environments could be the biggest challenge yet.
Si tuvieras que elegir un curso de inglés, ¿cuál de las siguientes opciones escogerías? A. Optarías por el curso tradicional de siempre, que dictan en un salón lleno de pupitres que acude a la memorización de verbos, llenando cuadernos como niños, como método principal de aprendizaje. O B. ¿Preferirías un curso revolucionario diseñado con tecnología de punta, basada en la mundialmente reconocida neurolingüística, con una metodología divertida y vivencial que se apoya en multimedia, videos, concursos, conferencias internacionales y documentales actuales de todas las carreras profesionales, en donde incluso lograrás perfeccionar tu vocabulario técnico? Quienes se deciden por los cursos tradicionales muchas veces terminan pagando hasta 8 o 10 cursos distintos sin terminar, ya que renuncian aburridos al ver el poco avance, experimentando con sistemas que inicialmente resultan económicos pero que terminan costando mucho más al sumar todo el dinero y los años perdidos. Pregúntate a ti mismo, ¿cuántos años más seguirás experimentando con cursos que no funcionan? Conoce Neurolingüística Thinking English, el único curso de inglés que es 1000% diferente a todos los cursos, que te garantizan el proceso de aprendizaje en tan solo 6 meses, independiente de tu edad, con horarios y pagos flexibles. Prueba nuestra metodología pagando solo un mes, sin siquiera firmar un pagaré. Ya no es necesario viajar al exterior para aprender inglés. En Colombia te garantizamos el nivel nativo aprobando cualquier examen de inglés. Realiza tus sueños este año. No esperes más. Te ayudamos a conseguir un buen empleo en el país que sueñas vivir, con empresas multinacionales. Nuestra pasión es enseñar el inglés. Contáctanos ahora para programar una clase gratuita. Con nuestros cursos sentirás que pusimos el chip del inglés en tu cerebro.